Just know a lot of time went into it. But we don't have the tool.
Talk while we're sharing a hot dog.
Oh no! We've run out up here before. I'm not really looking to do it again. It's been busy, dudes, everyone. Gonna try to do a brief little intro here of like explaining this mid-season update video, because this is a long one, right? It's been super busy. It's been nuts this season with product development on 858 stuff, some 600 catalyst stuff, a lot of 862 data logging, sorting those out, finalizing that stuff, clutching, testing clutching, doing customer builds, getting those out, testing those, making sure everything's good to go. All the messages and feedback and everything like that. Front progressive springs for the Polaris sleds, 2-inch ones, selling those, marketing those, riding those. Just everything as a program whole has been incredibly busy. And I know a lot of you have been messaging me and reaching out, and I appreciate and I love every single one of you guys that's reaching out to me. And I understand that sometimes it takes me quite a while to get back to you. It's just super busy, and I'm trying to give myself like an hour a night to just kind of relax. So it's only so many hours in the day. I'm trying, doing my best over here. But yeah, this whole intro update video here is basically about everything that's been going on. So I have tons of backlogged footage over the last like 1,500 miles this season of riding the Catalyst, doing suspension calibrations with Andy Wenzlaff Performance, getting those sorted, testing those, riding in Pittsburgh, riding with Len. I wanted to have like a big conclusion wrap-up update video on the 858 stuff, and our ECU tuning stuff is just taking a little bit longer than expected. We're having some back-end developer type issues on that, so working through that stuff right now. We should have everything good to go within a week or two here, but we're just sorting through some of that stuff, getting those all dialed in, so I don't have that video done in the way that I want to do it. So I'm going to do this instead. I'm going to do just a big generalized, here's everything I've been working on. Here's snippets from these rides. Here's snippets from testing this. I'm going to put the dates in. I'm going to try to show you guys as much as I can while keeping it fun and condensed about what I've been doing the entire first half of this season. And then from here on out, I'm going to try to get back to last year's regular style programming of 1 to 2 videos a week of rides and shop content and whatever. It's just been nuts. It's been super busy. So I hope you guys enjoy this super long video here of just what's been happening this season so far. Yeah, not going to be any timestamps, I don't think. Just watch it and enjoy if you can, and if you love it, let me know. As always, thanks for watching. Let's get into it. All right, going on, getting more shocks stripped out, send off to Andy Wenzlaff, and I get the FTS out of the Snow Pro. We ain't got no bump stop in here, which is interesting. Why we ain't got no bumpy? I got all my shocks out. The QS3s are all out. We're going to leave the adjusters and the factory springs for now and just do some valving changes and see what that gets us, and do one step at a time, because I know not everyone's going to want to jump to big 16 position adjusters for high and low, the DSC ones. So we're going to work step by step, like I said, incrementally, work with the stock springs, do some revalving, develop that phase, and then we'll move on to the next one. Same with the Snow Pro setup. Going to change the valving, leave all the stock springs, see what we get. And yeah, clutching, we're going to do that stuff, get our whole setup going there, modify some things on the secondary side, have some different new good parts for the primary, and just see what that gets us as we go. Hopefully get out and do some more testing this weekend. Shout out to Greg over at the Sometime Is Now channel. He ended up having an extra ADAPT 33mm taper clutch base holder down here. Clamps in the vise and it supports the whole clutch. So shout out to Greg, he hooked me up with that. Got the clutches all blown apart. We got some Skidoo junk in the background over there, but we're waiting on some shocks to come back from Andy over at Wenzlaff Performance. We got 2 calibrations done.
One for the RXC here, one for the Snow Pro. We have a second set of shocks for the AC5s to get a second calibration tested relatively quickly. So we're gonna get these things wrapped up and knocked into shape as soon as we can because the season's short and we're trying to get all this stuff sorted. So stay tuned. Very last minute little rip here, a little Christmas bonus kind of deal. Out here in Stowe, over off Moscow Road again, going out through the Green Mountain Rover section. Over here, they got this stuff groomed up. They got like a 10-mile stretch back and forth. Gonna go get these things out and running, put the blow the cobwebs off of them and see how they go. We got some new clutching stuff from Wheel at Velocity Sled Performance.
With this, it is just incredibly smooth and linear. Wow! I forgot to add a little bit of low speed. It's all right. Holy shit. It's always there. It's just very nice to see. This thing is nuts. Wow. It's a different type of wheelie now. Like, the Assault's always been super playful and like lifts the skis, but now it's accelerating forward so hard at the same time that it's got the skis up that it's just a different feeling altogether. It's crazy. It's wild how smooth it is. Anywhere you give it half throttle, it lights and does that. Man, Will's a wizard. Oh, this thing feels great. You know when you get a sled dialed in and like you ride it so much that you learn all of its little quirks and how it feels, and then you get back on it after a while and it just kind of feels like home. That's how I'm feeling right now. As much as I love this sled, it does not handle nearly as flat and predictable as that Catalyst, man, which is just wild because this thing is really good and these Polaris machines are really good, but that Catalyst is just so planted and flat, it's crazy. It's just in the mid, maybe even a little more spring in the secondary. No, that ain't it. Just a little bit of weight in the primary. We just need to pull a whisker out. It's always there in terms of back shift. Yeah, that's fine. Boy, I really wish I had the RXC here to run that back to back with these things. The shocks are probably back at the shop right now. The delivery window was right now.
Quick little recap here from that little ride. I tried to do some recap stuff. I don't know if that's a new battery or not. At the end there, but the battery died. Whatever. Yeah. Like I said when I was on the boost, it was really cool to get back out there on something that I put so much time into and learned every little quirk about it, and like it felt like home, right? But man, that Catalyst chassis is that good to where I'm like, I don't know how often I'm actually gonna ride these Polaris sleds now. Like once I get the shocks sorted out, which they weren't too far out to begin with on the RXC, so once I get those sorted and the clutching stuff dialed in, I'm gonna have a hard time not taking that thing. Just the ease of mobility on the chassis is so good. And yeah, I know there were some comments already on the other video, the Catalyst first day impression video, of like, all your gushing's not gonna save Cat. Like, I'm not sponsored by anyone. This is just me being me, conveying information and what I'm feeling in the moment. I paid all my own money for that Arctic Cat. I'm gonna talk about it how I wanna talk about it in the honest way that I've been doing all these videos for the entire time since I started last year. So I hope everyone sees the honesty and genuine side of all this, and like, this is all just me talking as it's all happening and as I'm experiencing it. And I love those things, they're great, but that Catalyst chassis is just exactly what I need. So I've got the clutching stuff set up, or most of the clutching calibration for test number 1 in my 858 RXC. I got the bench and all the tools still out. About to pull Tyler's clutches and everything off of his Snow Pro here and put it in the second calibration for that. We've also got a box down here from Andy. We got our first round of shock calibrations back as well. So I can, some point later today or tomorrow or whatever, get the shocks back in these things. So I got a lot of work ahead of me. Let's get into it. But for some reason, we use on the adjuster 5/16 24 fine thread pitch to open the sheaves up. But then these bolts are M6x1, and then on a TSS04 you have 1/4 28. So I don't know what in the hell these people are doing with their thread pitch here. I wish we could just standardize everything to metric across the board. Very early, headed up to Pittsburgh. Gotta go grab Tyler, the parking ride. I got the two cats in the trailer again. New shock calibrations, new clutching. See how they go. It is now not early. We've got snacks. Off and running. Still cruising. Another hour and a half to go.
So we are up in Pittsburgh again. We're just outside or right next to Granite State Power Equipment. I'm gonna shoot over there. Tyler's having his ECU flash done, and I believe he's resetting, doing a factory reset on his G8. It kept switching screens. I think I touched on that. Aside from the moisture touching it, so if you don't lock it by holding the button, see, touchscreen locked, you hold right on your multi-switch. If you don't lock the screen, it gets snow dust, it switches. But Tyler was having an issue where it was just switching all the time, no matter what. So we tested on lock, okay? The multi-switch, the switch is fine, so it's something in the programming of the gauge. A few reports online, guys said to just do a factory reset, and that took care of it. So I think he's over there having Paul do the ECU update and doing a factory reset on the gauge. We got dressed and loaded up and everything here. Yeah, we're gonna ride over to Granite State and catch up with Tyler and then hit the trail. Tyler got his hot rod all reflashed up. And all the shocks revalved by Andy at Lens Left Performance. Curious to see how these things go. I'm on medium all the way around right now. Let's see, I'm gonna give it some time, get into some bumps and stuff before I really start talking about them, but I'm trying to just feel everything out. We got a lot of changes at once here. It's definitely way better for being on medium. Like, the smaller stuff isn't just bucking me right off immediately, you know. We got a little bit of compliance in it now, even on medium, which is cool. I'm really excited that revalving the shocks hasn't really changed how flat this chassis is. Even with the navigators, I'm getting quite a bit of darting on braking though, which I don't really like, so I might end up switching the skis just because of the braking, how they are under braking. But we might be pivoting about on the front track shock just a little bit, because that's on medium now, not soft, so we're not setting into that as much. I'm an 1/8 of an inch softer on preload for that front track shock, than before. So I do have that to play with. I can pull a little bit more preload out of that as well, try and get it to set in a little bit. And I also have a different dual rate front track shock spring setup to play with, but we're trying to adjust the valving changes so far.
What's up with it?
Where'd you get one of these? The helmet? Yeah. Same time you did at the show last year. I was looking. Is that on?
It just is now, but yeah, I don't need to use it. You know, I'll edit it right out. But yeah, your light's working, so that's good. I'm gonna grab water over here. No, that can go in the archive.
The good news is I feel the suspension working.
Okay.
Which is something I didn't have before.
Correct. Yep.
Everything.
Okay, but you started this with good news, so what's the bad news?
The skis don't have enough edge.
Yeah.
We're altering our route because even after the clutching changes I made, this is still really flat at like partial throttle cruising. Even down low, it's relatively flat. It only pulls to like 72, 7,000, and then is a slow climb from there. So I'm going to go back and have Paul throw the reflash in it and see if that does anything for it.
Yeah, so Paul and I checked for an update. There is no ECU update for this one. Like I was wondering about that because the VIN number's high enough.
VIN number's high enough, no ECU update, so we started checking some of the regular culprits, exhaust valve, TPS, that stuff. Everything checks out. So yeah, we checked all that stuff. The holder tool for the valves from Cat, but the holder tool for the valves from Cat to adjust those and everything just got released, and Paul's hasn't shown up yet. So until that shows up, we're just gonna ride it. If more of it is just in the helix. Yo, Andy's valving's crazy, bro. The fronts are so much better. I can feel them doing stuff instead of just slamming into stuff. I can feel them working, oh boy. So cool. That's just one stab, but he's a wizard. Dude. Front track shock didn't even bottom on that. I can leave it on medium. Oh, buddy. I need to put another click, I'll probably put 2 clicks of rebound into the rear track shock. I got a little bit more buck action on that, just the whisker. Yo, this thing's crazy. It's so good.
It's a million times better than it was.
That's bold. A million's bold, because you're still just on full soft.
Yeah, but it was terrible.
Right.
It was
Yep.
no fun to ride. I was ready to send it into the bushes.
Well, so that's the good thing, right? Because now we have the other set that's coming back even softer,
Right.
which should put you in the middle.
Right.
But like I can actually feel all the shocks doing their job now through that stuff.
So can I.
Yeah.
Which is huge, because I couldn't feel them working at all before.
For the sake of early season stuff, not everything being open, and fuel safety, we're gonna buzz back down and get fuel again, and then go do another little loop just to be on the safe side. We've run out up here before. I'm not really looking to do it again. Boy, the ability for this thing to just turn in at any time is still just blowing my mind. The Garmin, like the G8 here, is really good, really high tech. I just don't know it yet. I'm not familiar with it. The map is somewhat difficult to read until I get the colors set, and I just don't have the time to mess with it to learn it yet. It is just not insanely intuitive right off the rip like the 7S. That thing just, you only have snowmobile trails, whereas this has everything. So your functionality in the long run with this Garmin and the G8 is way, way better. You have just more features, more tech, more everything. But I just am not familiar with it yet. Oh, I know where we are.
You gotta get your brake lever adjusted.
Why?
It's too far out.
Oh, it's just that it has no travel to it,
Right.
which is nuts. It's right there. Whoop.
Yeah, I mean the brake works good.
Yeah.
But your, you know, mine feels like it's back here.
Damn, now that he said that about the brake lever, the tip of my finger is barely on that. Might have to get an adjustable boy.
I might go get a frickin' fries, hot dog and fries. Are you gonna eat?
And in a 136.
Okay.
So they're all there. I mean, we could bump one down to soft and try it.
Yeah.
But we don't have the tool.
We can talk while we're sharing a hot dog.
That's right. I like that, Minta. Right here.
Let's go have a hot dog.
Awesome, our partial throttle cruising's really, really good. Oh my god. Jeez, oh hell yeah. Woo! These things are gonna be a problem when we get them dialed in. Oh my. It's a whisker just ever so slightly. Nah, it's really not that bad. I could do with a little bit stiffer of a spring to get just a little more backshift response out of it, but boy is it really close. Yeah, it's still overshifting a little bit. Getting out here, hammering on it the whole time. Now that the pipe is hot, it's definitely pulling timing out of it. You can just feel it. It's not really ripping the same RPM. I mean, we're cruising 1,060, 1,070 EGT. I'm gonna go easy on it for a bit, see if I can get it to cool off a little. It is definitely night and day better, but there's definitely ECU going on. I'm gonna go back to the truck and try something. See what it gets me.
So today we're gonna do another secondary spring change. Got my helix in, all that seems to be working a lot better for the lower speeds. It's way better, but that whole hesitation thing is still there. And as you can tell from my mood probably, I'm tired, man. Been busting my ass out here. I was out testing till like 10 o'clock last night. Last 2 nights in a row, been out there trying to get stuff done, work in the shop, change stuff, go out, test, try to sort, collect feedback, collect data. Yeah, it's getting tiring, man. But that's the name of the game.
So it's definitely a bit better. We're still below 1,000 foot. Curious to see what happens when we get up above 1,000, break 1,000 foot mark. $1,050, all right. you get this thing up to 1,500 foot and it's a f***ing dog. Oh, cool, sick.
Yeah. So you'll see the difference. We're at 1,500 foot now, and once it crossed 1,500, it's like another step worse. So as we keep going down, you'll see it's just going to wake up and wake up and wake up and get better and better and better the closer we get down in elevation. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And once we came across that last big wooden bridge,
Yeah.
big wooden bridge this way,
Yeah.
it started picking it up and getting better.
Oh yeah, like the engine.
Right there.
Yeah.
But before that, it was like it had way too much weight on
Right.
in the sled.
Yep. And that's
Gradually.
you wait until once. So we just broke 1,200 feet. As we get down here, you're gonna break 1,000, and that is gonna come to life.
Yep.
And the closer we get back to the truck, the better and the stronger and the cleaner that thing runs.
That thing fucking rips compared to this, all up through there.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff
Yeah.
up there, it's
Yeah.
like instant.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like you grab a handful of this and it boom to RPM, and it's not like it's just zinging through it. It just pulls the way it should right to RPM. But this like struggles to get there. It feels right, like it's got 100 grams in each arm, or it's overshifted to the moon. But it's not, because I've changed all of that 7 different times now. And now finally coming out here and talking with Will about what I'm seeing and what I'm trying and what I'm doing, and the only difference is the elevation. The higher up you go, the more of a slug that thing is.
Right.
Yep.
You know, like, and the seating and moving is unbelievable.
That's what I'm, dude, that's like,
Hard at all. I mean, it's like, I can move wherever I want to move.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's such a bummer that a lot of people are experiencing this online already, and I'm fighting through the clutching and chasing these calibration things when now I am 1,000% convinced it's just the tune is out to lunch. But the bones of the machine are so good. There.
I can't imagine an older guy that's been in the sport for a long time, that's had like ZRs and like 1,000 Machs, saying that, oh, I'm complaining about this vibration and the feel of this thing being raw and all that, because that's the way they were then.
Yeah.
And everybody loved it. It's like, this thing is raring to go, and it
Guess.
just feels like the power's right there.
Yeah, well, like you talk about a Mach RT, you got a goddamn Folgers can spinning around inside
Oh,
there.
I know.
You Piston's right.
No,
big.
but the whole sled's just like raring to go.
Yeah.
Like we had a Wildcat once, a 700 Wildcat that had the motor all done up, and the whole sled was just like just ready to rip.
Yeah.
And that's just what it feels like.
Yeah.
You know,
But
it's,
it
it's
comes
not
back
a touring sled.
Right, that's what I'm
People
saying.
don't-
Like, it
yeah.
comes back to knowing what you're buying and its intended purpose. It's not a couch cruiser.
Right.
But
I don't, right, the way it is right now, I would have to ride it quite a while before I said make a change to the shocks.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because that stuff, I mean, there's 1-footers in the bottom of corners and stuff, and it just, and it stays there, but it doesn't disrupt the sled, and it still goes right where you want it, around the corner.
Buddy is struggling to load up there. What the? Yep. But you notice?
Yeah, it got better and better the further we came down here.
What the f?
Yep.
Like, how is the scale that far off, dude?
Or whatever.
No, it's not
It's
even.
almost like it's getting too much fuel, or
It's not even. It's not a map.
doesn't
it's not.
smoke.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unreal.
Skis work great.
Yep. They dart a bit. Even with the
Yeah,
navigator. This stuff's getting so loose, though. It's not really
Yeah, I
locked in.
didn't find too much of a problem with that.
Yeah. Well,
Where it's locked in more. In
some of the
front.
like the more frozen stuff, you get on the brake and it does that like on the brake hunt around, and it's
Yeah.
trying to drop into tracks and load in the front a little
Yeah.
bit more.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna try and take a spoon and drop it over the front one and do like I've done on like precision skis, not precision pilots,
Yeah.
and then tack weld the back of it to the runner
Yeah.
and just try it and
Yep.
see what that gets me.
So
And
the
if it
fix
sucks, I'll
on
cut the tack and
big
pull it
heavy
off.
sleds before.
I don't feel it pitching drastically,
No,
to the point
no.
where that is the culprit.
No.
And it doesn't roll side to side off of the center either. So I'm real hesitant to change
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I think it's just the ski. I think it just loads
Yeah.
the front, and the navigator is too far up on the tip of the ski to compact
not
a new.
com-
yeah,
not
it's not.
compacting
It's
its own
exactly.
enough,
It's not
yeah.
packing a new track for
Yeah.
it. And this, like, you can't sit and you can't sit and ride this the way you can that. That you can put in very little body effort to make it do what you need it to.
Yep.
This takes way more body influence, but once you do the body influence, this stays planted and does what it's supposed to.
Yep.
And I remember that of like when I built this, coming from the other Matryx sleds, that body movement is normal for me to get them to do what I want. So this ended up with that dynamic feeling of like I have to move to make it do what I want it to. Whereas this has that response without the needed body effort.
Oh boy. Oh my God. Oh, this sucks. I don't like this at all. Why are my knees touching my nipples? Yeah, this ain't it, brother. My hips and pants are all tight. I can't even move. Oh, the brake is touching my glove. Oh my God, the seat is ridiculous. I'm hitting the tank. Buddy, we need some foam in this old girl. I don't trust this thing one bit yet. All right, I'm gonna stop talking and give it a minute, see what I feel. Oh my God, there goes my spine. Oh, I hit one good one. Drove my ass through my back. All right, the engine's incredible. The engine's super cool. And it does carve big time, but my God, I don't trust it one bit. Yeah, if you had perfectly flat trails all the time, this is the slot car to have. But my God, I really don't trust it. I don't trust the skid or the seat. The skid's working, but... All right, hang on. We're coming into it. Classic assault skid. It takes bumps really well if you're on throttle. If you're off throttle and you hit the front torque arm into stuff, not so great. But boy, you can rail the corners on this thing. That's crazy. It's way too quiet. We need some noise out of this thing. Anyone out there have one of the SLP cans for a Viper, please hit me up. Or the whole SLP triple setup. Yeah, you can rail the corners. Holy shit. I'm not having as much fun on it as the XC800, but this is pretty cool for these service roads. It's insane how well it still turns even at like half throttle. You'd think it would just unload and just push right off, but it just still carving it right out. Man, it sounds good. Yeah, it's kind of cool. The footholds are really strange. Like my foot slides way up into it. It kind of like pinches the top of my foot. It's interesting. It's just different. It's very different.
The seat needs some work. The foam is straight up blown out. Oh, it's funny. In the shop here, again, before we go out and do some more testing on the Catalyst, after Tyler pointed it out, I noticed the brake lever was kind of far away, like he said. So I ended up I did some research, and I poked around, I looked at all kind of the brake lever options for the Hayes master cylinder that's on the Cats here. And Hayes makes a really nice adjustable lever, but it's not for this master because the lever ratio locations are slightly different. So I poked around and looked around and kind of came across most of the options out there, and I wasn't sold on all of them until I found this one from Outer Impact. And they make a lot of really cool gun parts, but also they make these adjustable brake levers. And I'm pretty pumped on this thing. I think it's gonna be awesome. They sent me this really cool handwritten little note here about their stuff, so I'm pumped to get this thing on the sled. So let's check it out. All right, bear with me. Weird camera, terrible audio. All the GoPro stuff's not here, so we're just doing this with this. I'll get in the frame here. Oh, yeah, this thing's cool. Outer Impact, adjustable jobby. Let's get this out of the bag here. Damn, that's cool. So on the lever, right, big zoom in here, you have the adjustable thumb wheel with big detents in it. So it's not like a little set screw and you gotta lock anything. You have the thumb wheel with like noticeable detents to it. You got spot for 2 fingers, 3 fingers, whatever you wanna do with these jobbies here. You can see that little plunger, maybe, spinning out. That is sweet. Hear those clicks? It's like your shocks. Got the click. When it comes to swapping the actual lever, it's very simple. There's no stupid little C-clips or nothing. I don't know if you can see it very well. Focus up, come on, oh boy. There is this little tiny tab right here. You just gotta push that little spring tab in and then up on the pin at the same time. And that starts to push the whole pin right up and out of the assembly. Then your lever comes off. And then the parking brake portion has the same kind of little spring tab on the bottom. Push the spring tab in, push the pin up through, careful not to lose your spring flying across the shop. And then, yeah, swap it over to the new lever, back in you go. I don't know how apparent this is gonna be. Oh yeah, you can see that walking out there. You can see the little plungers out right there. Let me get under here and try to... You just get killer placement right there. If you run with your hand farther in, you can get 2, you can get 3 on it, which would be kind of weird. Or if you're kind of like me and you run a little bit farther out and you don't want the lever touching your glove, you can run this thing right out here. So I don't know where I'm gonna end up yet with gloves on, but all I gotta do, a little thumb wheel action, no tools needed. Very cool, awesome piece. Outer Impact, I'll put a link in the description if you guys are looking for an adjustable lever. Now that it's mounted, I can better show you guys the breakaway portion here, which like handguards, trail sled stuff, not as big of a deal, I don't think. This is kind of pretty cool. If you end up tipping the sled over or whatever, this can fold away. If you don't have handguards, it will go all the way around 180, all the way to the backside. But pretty cool little feature on that jobber there. Just pulled over quick to take a leak and, show you guys the really nice roads we've got here. I'll get there eventually. I don't know which one, dude.
Let me see. Which ones are up?
You got Big Johnson Lodges 2.
Man, I should not have put that spoon on the front. We are pushing like crazy. Those are going to come off tonight. Wow, yeah, that sucks. It's worth trying it though. So the spoons or the keel blade from SLP added on here does not work. I'm pushing all over, but it doesn't dart. So if you don't ride aggressive and you just want to remove darting, they sure do work. But it's just pulling the front of the ski up out of the snow too much. So that's the downside of when you're trying stuff and testing things out and like throwing that keel blade on here. It took away all the darting I was having, but it's making me push real bad. Like I'm turning way too much compared to what I used to do on this thing. So it is what it is. We will deal with it, live with it, ride it today, change our riding a little bit, we'll dial it down, just be a little more heavy on the brake to get it to set, and go from there. And tonight we'll yank those things right off of there.
Top of Stub Hill Pond. I don't understand how you can have a pond on the top of a mountain. Where does it get its water? How do ponds work, you know? How do magnets work? No one even knows. We'll get you there. We'll get you. You'll come into it.
That's pretty cool. These trees all snowed up. Look at these things. Oh, great. This is fucking stupid.
You selling lights again over here?
I am. Talk to the guy that knows. He watches you on YouTube.
Oh yeah?
Oh man, nice to meet you.
You as well.
Watch all your fucking videos.
Awesome, thank you. I appreciate that.
Cool. We got one good rev and it laid right over. What the fuck? It laid over big time. That's not right. Huh. She's really laid over. Turns out it had stuck the valves. Manually actuated those, freed it back up, and then I went out back on the lake here to check it, see if it fixed, and it stuck them again. So I'm buzzing back up to Granite State to go check with Paul and see what he thinks. You can hear it, it just is stuck, which is really strange.
We are just getting out of Granite State. Been here about an hour and a half. I cannot thank these guys enough. Mike in there, Paul, everybody in there, as usual, just amazing guys. We ended up slipping a valve. So we had a valve that, exhaust valve, that slipped on its shaft for the cable actuator. So yeah, they just immediately bring it in, let's get it done, check it out, put the alignment tool on it, go through everything. I mean, just dropped everything they were doing to help us get this thing in and go through it. And I mean, I don't even have words to express the gratitude for these guys here and how awesome this dealership has been. So like, it's unfortunate that that happened to the sled, and it's somewhat convenient we were right here, but just how many other dealers are going to bring you right in like that and do whatever they have to? I mean, it's 6:30 on a Friday and they're still in there helping us do it. So I cannot thank them enough.
Oh no!
The Dynamics is no longer working.
What?
Oh yeah.
Brooke's gonna be real mad at you.
Oh, it goes fine. It just doesn't ride.
She gonna be mad at you.
Yeah, well. I need to break it in. Then.
I don't know. That's not good. Yeah. She gonna be big mad. So we're starting our climbing elevation. Curious to see how this thing goes as we start climbing. So as we're going up in elevation, it's still way better than it was before, but it's definitely very, very sensitive to elevation. Starts kind of losing a little bit of power, which is interesting. It's not like we're going up 2,000, 3,000 foot jumps to where it's like, okay, it's warranted. I mean, we went up 300, 400 foot. Shouldn't be that drastically noticeable. I think the biggest thing I've noticed since we fixed those valves is like the partial throttle cruising and like light throttle acceleration up through, like right now. Granted, we're going downhill, but it's just way smoother, and it seems to drive along at speed at way less RPM. So it's still getting kind of lazy in the mid and top up here at elevation. And like I said, it's not like we went up 3,000 foot where it's a major jump where that's expected. We only went up, you know, 400 or 500 foot, which is something, don't get me wrong, but it's not enough, I don't think, to pull it down 200 RPM like I'm seeing. So I'm still really looking forward to getting a file from Will over at Velocity Sled Performance and get to working on data logging that and refining that with Will and getting some tune files ready for you guys. But if you are having major RPM issues, definitely get to your dealer and take a look at that valve synchronization and the actual shafts and lever arms, and make sure that they are all seated and they haven't stripped the knurling off of the valve or anything like that, because that will cause you some serious fits for sure.
I was eating. Then we need to redo.
Got another wizard file from Will, and this one should be good to go. We're thinking this is going to be it. No clutching changes, just the new tune workup.
big clutching change up on the RXC. Sly Dog attacks from my Assault way back that I held on to just for something like this to go ahead and experiment and try them out, and moved the coupler to the farthest hole. So it kind of doesn't really do much now. Just for curiosity's sake, to try that, try the skis. Like I said, clutching changes, moving some weight shit around, and just all in all, changing what I'm doing with the clutching. Just going ahead, trying some different setups, and that's what testing is about. So let's go give it a whirl.
So I'm not incredibly sold on these skis yet. They're working pretty good, actually. Wow. Yeah, we're getting somewhere with this fucker now.
More 858 testing. The testing continues. Put it in perspective for you on the clutch changes and setups and trying and this and that. Had the welder out today. So those of you that have played with clutching for a very long time will have an idea of what I'm talking about or what I was doing. Trying something outside the box a little bit. Not really outside the box, but like I said, those with experience will know what I'm talking about, pitting a welder out with the clutch weights there. But working on some stuff there. Another spring, another belt, different belt, bunch of trying, bunch of testing. That's what it's all about.
Coupler's in the rearward position, checking out calibration on that. Still have the Sly Dog skis up front, giving these some more test time. Yeah, so far our clutching feels really nice at partial throttle and cruising. Decent back shift on the primary. Freewheel's a little bit easier than before, which I don't mind because it was pretty aggressive on the primary back shift before. A little bit of freewheeling isn't bad. It'll help us on the mile per gallon department a little bit. Yeah, flat in the middle. It's gonna climb to RPM, but that's what I was wondering about. It's just a whisker lazy for me. I think a spring change will come right into where we want it, where I want it to be. Boy, these skis are some impressive though.
Ooh, that's actually not bad. Little bit warm. Secondary's really good. Secondary's awesome. All right, secondary's dialed. Tired. Very tired. If you got an 858 and you end up buying some of this stuff, just know a lot of time went into it.
I'm absolutely fried, everybody. Just shop work combined with all this stuff. I mean, it's 6:47 again after a full day in the shop doing all work and customer stuff and setup and pre-seasons and blah 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 blah. I'm just tired, very tired. Oh yeah. The real test is going to be to see if it maintains this all the way out through the loop and back. So far, this has been my absolute best calibration yet. Will and I spent a good bit of time on the phone, kind of FaceTime-ish pictures and stuff back and forth, and did some old school trickery getting this thing dialed in here. haven't been on this old girl other than up in their testing spot over in Stowe. So I was like, boy, these super tall spindles are, they work, but you gotta ride it. That's what I built it for, but thought I could get it a little bit better, so I tinkered with some stuff. So far, it's feeling better, but we haven't really done much, and it's super icy and weird, so we'll see. But so far, initial impressions are that it feels quite a bit better. What is going on? Uh-oh. Oh, shit.
Oh boy, that ain't good. Let's see what we can do to help them out here. Here, park that one up a little bit right in front of mine, because the lights stay on, so that'll help people slow down coming up to us. Phew, had to pick up, heave-ho the old girl right up out of there. Whew.
Front end changes I made are awesome, drastically different, way more stable. It's not as likely to tip the ski. If I forget that I'm on a Polaris and I steer this like I'm on the Cat, which is, you know, you have to put a lot more bar movement into it because of the ratio of steering and stuff. If I do that, right, if I oversteer this thing, it kind of bites pretty hard in the ski and it'll try to tip up a little bit then. But if I kind of revert my mind and my brain back to riding a Matryx, that's completely gone, which is awesome. So a little wizardry trick I did up front worked pretty good. The Matryx brake is really good. It's the best brake on the market. The chassis does really good with braking. Just very, very hard to beat that all around.
But yeah, it feels really good. The suspension is incredible. Andy got this thing revalved to perfection last season. It just eats pretty much anything we're encountering out here. Super plush, compliant. Really hard to beat that. But I mean, I keep coming back to that Catalyst chassis of like the feel of it and how light and nimble and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be curious to continue to put miles on this and then get back on the Cat again and go back and forth a couple times.
Try the boost out. Woo! Quite a bit different already. Feels like a tank. Oh boy. Okay. Well, we got some spicy goodness from wheel at velocity going on in this bad boy. So the boost is turned up pretty good. Oh wow, yeah, this thing is so much more flat and locked in up front. Interesting. He ain't gonna like that back there. Maybe he will, I don't know. I gotta get used to a little bit of extra brake travel. I think the pads are just more worn. Boy, for an assault, man, this chassis is... I forgot how good I had this thing dialed in. Not to be like arrogant or annoying, but I've got a lot of work and a lot of time in getting this thing sorted. And it just feels so good. Like I said in another clip, I don't know if that's come out yet or not. This thing just feels like home, which is kind of cool. Oh my God, that was a rock for sure. All right, we're done with that. You go ahead, bud. The partial throttle boost to the spool up is really, really good. Super smooth. It's like somewhat linear with your thumb. I mean, it gets a little bit more than where your thumb is, right? The spool up, but I don't know how to word this. But yeah, as you give it throttle, it spools, but it like maintains boost in alignment with your throttle. So like if you give it more throttle, you can feel it feeds a little bit more boost. As you back out, you can feel it pulls a little bit. It's not like an on-off switch. The boost follows the throttle very linear, and it lights incredibly fast. And we do have a TRS power flow valve in here as well, so that's helping in the sealing and spool up department. Another interesting small thing to note, on the boost here, underneath the Axis hand grips that I put on it, I also put the Skidoo cork, the little insulators that go underneath the heating element itself. And this on two, both 7S's, right, between my VR1 and the boost, both have the exact same temperature settings for the hand warmers. They've both been recalibrated, they're all good to go there, that's all the same. But this with the cork insulators underneath the heating element on two is definitely substantially warmer than the VR1 back there, which is interesting to note. It's cool to see that those like actually work that way, the way they're intended to, right? Sometimes you don't know if it's going to make a big difference or not, but they do. The downside is the grip diameter is noticeably bigger compared to like a stock Polaris or the VR1 back there. Yeah, a little fun tidbit worth mentioning while we're just kind of cruising along here. Yep, as good as this thing is through this stuff, it is not that Arctic Cat, and it is still an IGX, where if you take these big bumps heavy on the brake, it gets very, very nose heavy, and the rear end is real likely to swap around on you, even with the linkage in the back, high gear linkage that is. It's so much better. Oh my god, big rock, not cool. And it's really, really good, but just in comparison to the other stuff I've been riding lately, the IGX still does IGX things at times. Yeah, I can say that the boost is definitely staying in the fleet. He seems to love that 862 back there, so maybe that thing's gonna have to stay also. I don't know.